I'm Nick Stevens here at the Blockchain Innovation Conference 2019 in Amsterdam. We've been talking a lot about supply chain today. It's been one of the main themes. No two better people to talk about supply chain related concepts. I've got Kester Meijer and Linda Bos from KLM, the Dutch Royal Airlines. I know it's the end of the day. There's been a lot of information. You guys have just come off stage talking about all sorts of great stuff. But we met recently at the Odyssey Hackathon in Groningen, where you guys were one of the track partners, bringing in a whole set of challenges with blockchain as a potential solution. Tell me a little bit about your experience at the hackathon. We'll start with you, Linda.
Yes, well, the hackathon was a very awesome experience in the sense that we just brought in our challenge, a challenge regarding digital identity. So how to make sure that we can put the identity of our passengers securely and GDPR proof on the phone. And recognize the passenger when they are traveling at different airports, that they experience a seamless flow. We brought in that challenge into the hackathon, and it was incredible just to see how all the different teams, all the startups, were just working crazy during a couple of days. And that this working prototype came out, which we are now really taking up to the next level and getting it towards the version 2.0.
Yep, and Kester, this year we had the Odyssey Ignite Day on the Monday. I think you were there, right?
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
This was you can take the microphone if you want. So this was the new day where it wasn't just, okay, hackathon, great, we've made a prototype, we'll figure it out. It was a serious, let's get down as a potential consortium or ecosystem or coalition, whatever you want to call it, to say, how do we now take this as not day 3, but day 0 and start all over again? Yeah. How did you experience that day?
I thought it was really fantastic because it had two brilliant elements. One was, as you say, okay, let's not just leave and go back to normal life, but how are we going to continue this energy, this potential of the solution that won? And the second element I really loved as we went around the other solutions. So it was even going beyond your own solution, your own problem, but getting inspiration from the other winners, bringing it back to your table and saying, hey, how can the other ideas make our idea better?
Yep. And you also brought along some of your external stakeholders, and by external I mean they were not present at the hackathon necessarily, but I remember specifically somebody from the Customs and Excise division was there, and I know she had an amazing day. But how is that consortium, coalition, whatever you want to call it? I mean, that was 2 months ago now, almost. What's the news? Where are you up to?
After the hackathon, we came back, and together with the winning team, we just sat together just to draw out a bit more the whole concept. So really trying to get to the business issue that we are facing today. The winning team also got in close cooperation with the winning team of the Ministry of the Interior. So one of the challenges that they brought in. And so we're now in contact with them as the first small step towards the bigger ecosystem, of which together with her we are now being invited by the customs and by the KMAR and also possibly by the security party of Schiphol Airport.
So it's taking shape. It's working.
It's taking shape, exactly. But that's going slowly because we have to do all the different conversations, and you have to bear in mind that those are institutes that are maintaining our societal.
They're designed to keep us safe, right? So move fast and break things here does not apply.
Exactly.
And sure, we all wish it could go faster, but not at the expense of privacy or even human life.
Exactly.
So if I start to take this now looking forwards, what are you seeing in the blockchain world that's relevant for KLM or some of the partners you work with?
Well, I think we've been working on several cases last year, of which digital identity was one, but we are also working together with KLM Engineering and Maintenance, with our finance organization, KLM Catering Services. And I think the one that's also very, very interesting is our cargo domain. And that's, I think, where next year we're gonna bring in the challenge that is working on the supply chain.
What's the problem you think needs to be solved?
Okay, so the supply chain is one of the most complex number of stakeholders, but also kind of distinct roles as well. It's about trust. And what I really like, again, about the hackathon is it's like a proverbial gearbox, because sometimes the government is in gear 2 and the startups are in gear 5. So how do we get from gear 2 to 5? So if you do it in a car, you'll get a lot of noise.
Yep.
So doing it here in this sphere, and it's really amazing every time the level of energy I get, but also everybody is getting from having these discussions. And I think for the corporates like us, how do we bring this new phenomena back home to where people are used to doing it, have been used to be doing it for a couple of years the same way, or maybe even decades, and say, wait a minute, there's this group of very young guys who have supply chain knowledge, and they are also able to come up with a solution within a few days. And so the problem I want to bring to the table next year will be connecting supply chain participants like pharmaceuticals, brand owners, manufacturers, to the people who move the goods, and to the customs, because I think that's extremely important. Enforcement agencies who are now keeping their cards very closed, opening up and saying, hey, if we want to battle counterfeit pharmaceuticals or dangerous goods, lithium batteries, how can we work together to make it a safer place, a more secure place, and at the same time facilitate trade, so we get our stuff in much more quickly cleared through customs.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that, supply chain, it doesn't matter which element you're in, there is a huge amount of literal old-fashioned paperwork. So we know that can be cleaned up. But we trust that today because it works. And these new systems are not yet proven. Blockchain in terms of, critical supply chain, which I would consider, you guys are flying planes around the world, is just a few years old. Can we go that fast?
Absolutely, because, I want to go back to what you just said. It works. Well, yes, it does work sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't in the current situation, because we all have our data standards and they're different, and we lose. It's like a relay game with maybe 20 participants, and somebody drops the stick, the baton, and you're gone. And that's when we get the holdups, the fines, the prosecution, and all the problems, the liability. So today's system is not broken, but for some people it's not working. So I think what these new technologies can bring, that we bring it to the next level of supply chain. It's really, and yes, it's early days, but it's very promising, and it's a step we need to take, because we cannot keep doing it the way we have been doing it.
Yeah. So another theme that's been coming through in this conference, and I think in the blockchain world, has been artificial intelligence. Is that something that's coming on your radar as well?
It's already being used in terms of risk assessment. So I always say it's boom, burn, or balance when we talk about cargo on an airplane. So we are trying to target in generic data whether there's a risk to the flight safety, looking at explosives, hidden dangerous goods, which are not declared.
Combinations of goods that shouldn't be on the same plane.
Exactly, routing, and learning from the incidents that we have, the occurrences that we have, and saying how can we prevent this from reoccurring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on that part, also looking broader within KLM, we also experimenting with AI, also within our flight operations department on their fuel allocation at the aircraft, but also very more simply, I guess, that's more on the commercial side, and that is our chatbots that are already there. Yep. We're also applying AI on the chatbots just to get them smarter in such a way that they can really exactly, so that they can also help like our customers in the most and best way. So
all right, and I realize that neither of you are trend watchers and would never pretend to be, but we've talked about what's happening and what you see coming. Let's skip 4, 5, 6 years, which is no time but a long time into the future. What do you really hope for that would make a big difference?
Well, I hope that a lot of we always say, is this a service or a product? And what I hope for is that we will really have more happy flow of goods, that if that we become more reliable, but also more responsible for what we carry on board, and that if you're using our services, know that we are this reliable, trustworthy party who will deliver what we promise.
Which I think you are. I mean, you have a fairly well recognized global brand already. So what would be the difference between now and then?
I think the world is changing in the sense of what people require from the bigger corporates, and so we cannot sit still. We need to move here and again build and grow our responsibility. Not saying that we are not responsible today, but I think the standards are changing as well, and we can only achieve a higher standard by targeting everything we ship. And in the old manual procedural paper world, it was impossible to do. And I think with the new technologies, we can do it on everything.
Linda, last words for you.
Yep.
What do you hope for in the future?
Well, I just hope that we can, of course, be the most reliable airline in the world, as we have been almost the last 100 years.
Yep.
But also be more efficient and be more there for our customers, whoever our customers are, passengers, but also from the cargo business, but also from our engineering and maintenance business. Being transparent and taking care of those customers is I think, what I would like to see in the future.
So I hear the theme here is essentially being able to do much more by doing much less, but getting it right every time.
Exactly.
Exactly.
First time as well.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm here at the Blockchain Innovation Conference 2019 in Amsterdam. It's been a pleasure talking to you both, and I wish you guys and KLM great success chasing these goals.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you.